What's going on, y'all? It's your boy AC back with another vid, and I wanted to tackle this. I want to tackle this and deal with this subject. Excuse me. Steph Curry being the greatest shooter in NBA history. Now, before I get into this, let me say that hands down, Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of this era. I think a lot of people are prisoners of the moment, so to speak. And I can understand that. When we see greatness, we want to marvel in it. You know what I mean? We really do. So I have no issue with that. But I seriously don't think that he's not the greatest shooter of all time yet. Notice I say yet. And I could use a lot of reasons why, which I'm going to display in this particular video right here. All right. In defense, like I said before, if any of y'all are on my Facebook page, y'all are friends with me on Facebook page, you all know where I'm going with this. It is my contention that Ray Allen, a.k.a. Jesus Shuttlesworth, is the best shooter to ever do it. All right? Now, we're gonna look at this thing all the way around, and I'm gonna deliver this dissertation. And if anybody can dispute it, please deconstruct what I'm about to say, if you can. But I've been looking at it and I've been analyzing this thing for a while now, and I'm pretty sure I got the bases covered on all this. So let's get into it for a bit. Now, when we break down Steph Curry, all right, when we break down Steph, like I said, the man can fire it up from 30 feet. I believe this year so far, he's 11 for 18 from beyond 30 feet. All right. That's hellified accuracy. That's hellified range. I'm not taking that away from him. I'm really not. But here's what I look at. Number one, when we look at this squad, the Golden State Warriors are literally a 10-deep squad. Okay? Now, what I mean by 10 deep, for those who are not very inclined when it comes to basketball, that means that players, that the coach can really play literally 10 guys on that team, 10 out of 12, 10 men on that roster out of 12 men. He can play them with regularity. Okay? So, let's look at the starting lineup for the Golden State Warriors. Okay, we got Curry, we got Clay, we got Barnes, we got Green, and we got not Festus Ezeli. I forgot who the other guy is. Never mind. I think that, excuse me, Festus Ezeli need to be starting anyway. That's just my whole thing. But still. Now, when you look at the starting lineup, right? When you look at that starting lineup, I would think that it is easy for Steph Curry to shoot because there's 3 shooters in that starting lineup, right? Curry's a shooter, Klay Thompson is a shooter, and Draymond Green is a shooter. Okay? Now, for everybody that knows basketball, when you have 3 players that can shoot the 3, and that's relatively lethal from behind the arc, you do something called stretching the defense, and you take pressure off of each other. All right? Not to mention that Harrison Barnes can shoot the 3 also. All right? So you got basically a team full of shooters. All right? So now, So now that we got that straight, you also have to take into account that Steph Curry is the point guard. Now, he's the floor general, i.e. the primary decision maker. He has the ball in his hands 90% of the time, which means anytime, and the thing about it is Curry has the green light. He has the green light. So not only is he a point guard, but he has the green light to score. I want you to think about that. Okay, so he decides where the ball goes, or if he just wants to fire it up, he can do it. All right, so he doesn't have a leash on him. He's the point guard. He can pretty much do what he wants. All right. Third thing. Let's just be honest with ourselves here. Steph Curry is the primary beneficiary of rule changes in the NBA, i.e. hand checking, elbow in the back, different little nuances that lockdown defenders used to do. All right. So if you breathe on a ball handler right now, especially if he's a superstar, you're going to get a foul called. And we not even talking about flagrant fouls. Flagrant fouls now can get you ejected. You see what I'm saying? So we know this. All right. Now here's another thing that I actually, while we're on defense, right? While we're on defense, let's also focus on some things. There's not a lot of lockdown defenders in the modern day of the NBA, right? It's not, honestly now. Do you think, and this is an honest question now, feel free to answer. Do you think that Steph Curry could drop 50 on Gary Payton? Do you think that Steph Curry could drop 50 on Iverson, Kobe, Dumas, Jordan, Artest? See, all of these guys that I've named was lockdown defenders. Even Jordan was a lockdown. Every single one of those guys that I named was on an all defensive team. In other words, you didn't have to worry about them. They pretty much locked their man down. How many dogs in the NBA? How many players in the NBA backcourts now have that type of mentality? Honestly. I don't see a Joe Dumas. I don't see a Gary Payton type of point guard who's primarily defense first. But at the same time, he got handles and he can control the tempo of a game. That was Gary Payton. All right. I don't see a Ron Artest out there. I don't. Will Steph Curry be able to rain fire on any of those guys that I just named? Even Iverson. Iverson was a dog on the court. Iverson played defense. He was on an all defensive team himself. First or second team. He was on that team. Iverson played both ends of the court. Could Steph Curry rain fire on AI? Well, I can't answer that, right? But what I can say is Ray Allen did. I want you to think about something. When we broke down the squad, the Golden State Warriors and how they had 3 shooters on that team, I want you to think about something now. In Ray Allen's prime, right? When Ray Allen's prime, let's say 2001, when he played for Milwaukee, and they got beat by Iverson. That was Iverson's MVP year. They got beat by the Lakers, right? Okay. Let me ask you this question. Do you know the starting lineups of the Milwaukee Bucks that went up against the 76ers the year that Iverson went to the championship, went to the finals? We know Ray Allen. Name me the other four. I'll wait. You see what I'm saying? Now, the reason why I said that is because of the simple fact that while Steph Curry has another All-Star, has two other All-Stars on his team that are basically snipers also, who did Ray Allen have? Ray Allen was the offense. You see what I'm saying? He was the offense. Ray Allen was the guy that you keyed on, and you still could not stop him from raining threes. You couldn't do it. Ray Allen had Iverson check him. He sure enough did. Ray Allen had Ron Artest check him. It was times where he had Gary Payton checking him. I mean, he had to deal with players who was defensive minded, whose primary objective was to stop you. Kobe, in his prime, was constantly on Ray Allen. Come on now, how many cats you know could drop numbers on Kobe? Kobe played both ends of the floor too. Not only that, Ray Allen was a shooting guard. He was not the point guard. In other words, he wasn't the primary decision maker. So while the point guard orchestrated the offense, Ray Allen had to find his spot. See what I'm saying? There's no better shooter that can pick and pop like Shuttlesworth. Let's just be real with this here. So now you're talking about somebody that was able to do what Steph has done in a tougher era where hand checking and all that was allowed, where when the playoffs came, you got punished. Right? So now Ray Allen wasn't the beneficiary of a soft NBA era. He played against consistently better competition. And he was still able to do what he did. Now, this is not a knock on Steph Curry. It's not a knock on... I like what the kid is doing. But Ray Allen has done just as much with less talent. Can we honestly say that Ray Allen was in his prime when he joined the Celtics and formed the Big Three? Big Four if you count Rondo. Can you say so? Right? Or when he joined the Big Three in Miami and became the fourth wheel. I mean, hell, he saved LeBron's legacy, right? So again, in Ray Allen's prime, he wasn't blessed with another superstar. He was the weapon that everybody keyed on, and couldn't nobody stop him. He didn't have no other players that can stretch the floor or penetrate the basket anytime that they wanted to. Nah, bruh, he had to do that for Dolo. So again, man, I understand what everybody is saying. Everybody wants to be affiliated with greatness. I feel that. But we living in the moment right now. Let that man's career play out. I mean, for real. I mean, honestly, bro. You take Steph Curry off the Golden State Warriors and you put him on... Oh, let me see. Put him on Philly. Right? No other shooters. He's the only shooter. Would he be the same? Put him on the Milwaukee Bucks, right? With that team, even is currently constructed. You put him on the court with Jabari Parker, Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton. He'd do slightly better than what he did with Philly, but still, it wouldn't match the production that he would have as he presently does with the Golden State Warriors. You just can't look at what an individual does. You got to look at the circumstances that surround that. See, I'm looking at the circumstances around. I'm looking at the modern NBA era. I'm looking at the fact that there's no lockdown defenders. Ain't no lockdown defenders. Tell the truth. Give me some lockdown defenders that we know is going to give Curry a run for his money. You could say Chris Paul, but that's about it. Right? So when you factor in all of these things, who's really the better shooter? It's my contention. Jesus Shuttlesworth the best to ever do it. I ain't caught up in the moment. I'll give Steph Curry his props as being the best to ever do it when his career is over and he stood the test of time. Ray Allen has already done that. Ray Allen has already done what Steph Curry has done, and he's done it multiple times in a tougher era against tougher competition. Shuttlesworth.